The Dallas Cowboys have just been hit with a decision that redefines their defensive rotation for the start of the 2026 season. The news about Charles Snowden's suspension isn't just a footnote in the transaction wire. It's a watershed moment that calls into question Mike McCarthy's roster-building strategy and Christian Parker's planning. In the corridors of the Star and in fan debate forums, the question echoing is whether the franchise was negligent in betting on an athlete with a pending legal history, or if we are witnessing a calculated financial chess move. Throughout this video, we will reveal the obscure details behind this 3-game suspension, analyze how the 2-year contract signed by the front office acts as a safety net or a miscalculation, and most importantly, discover if Snowden will still have a useful life on the roster after the final cut. The tension is real, the impact on training camp is immediate, and the question remains, is this suspension the beginning of a domino effect that will leave our defensive line exposed right at the start of the NFC East? Before we delve into the behind-the-scenes details of this decision, if you're a fan who doesn't miss a single detail of America's team's preparation, leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any critical updates this season. The transition is quick and the impact is certain. Let's get straight to what matters. Block 1. The impact of the announcement and the legal details behind the scenes. The news of the 3-game suspension imposed by the NFL on Charles Snowden fell like a silent bomb, but with devastating effects. To the unsuspecting fan, it may seem like just a bureaucratic setback, but for those who live the reality of the franchise, it is a deep problem in a unit that cannot afford to make mistakes. The suspension, which comes into effect exactly at the moment of the roster cut to 53 players, raises questions about the rigor of the Dallas Cowboys scouting process. We are talking about a case that dates back to December 2024, involving an arrest on suspicion of DUI in Las Vegas. The history is well known. The athlete, who at the time wore the Raiders' colors, was arrested with a blood alcohol level far above the permitted limit, even making statements that demonstrated a complete state of geographical disorientation. The NFL, with its methodical and sometimes exasperating approach, waited for the legal process to unfold before acting. Snowden pleaded no contest only in January, and the league followed its usual full investigation procedure. The parallel with the Damontae Kazee case is inevitable and serves as a stark reminder. The league doesn't forget, and sports justice has its own timeline that rarely aligns with a coach's preseason schedule. The frustration of seeing an important reinforcement arrive, and even before an official snap, have their absence stamped on the time card, is a feeling any longtime fan understands. But why did the Cowboys, an organization that obsessively monitors its athletes' behavior, choose this path? The answer may not lie solely on the field, but in the complex contract engineering the front office devised. While the press speculates about the ethics of the signing, the locker room tries to isolate the noise to maintain the cohesion of a defense that needs to be, above all, disciplined. The coaching staff's silence on the matter is deafening, but their actions in training reveal a contingency plan being executed with surgical precision while we watch this plot unfold, a plot that has only just begun. Block 2. Strategy or risk? Contractual complexity. Here's where the superficial analysis lies, separating it from the understanding of the NFL's chess game. The 2-year contract. Many outlets pointed to this agreement as a glaring error, a misjudgment of a player who already had off-field problems. However, the scenario is much more nuanced. Snowden wasn't signed due to a misjudgment, but rather as an exclusive rights-free agent, a typical roster management maneuver that allows the Dallas Cowboys to control the player's rights without compromising a fortune in salary cap space. By securing the athlete for 2 seasons, the management not only blocked competition for a rare physical talent, 1.98 meters tall, with long arms and athleticism that would enchant any defensive coordinator, but also created a strategic stockpiling option. Think about it. In a scenario where the player would have to be released for behavioral or technical reasons, the club now has the prerogative to use the suspended players list as an administrative shield. This means that instead of a direct cut, the team gains time to evaluate Snowden throughout training camp and the preseason, without him occupying a roster spot at the start of the regular season. It's a move that mixes risk and opportunity. If he proves on the field that he's worth the investment, the team reintegrates him after the 3rd week, ready for action. If he doesn't show the necessary brilliance, or if his off-field behavior becomes a concern again, The release becomes a cleanup process, not a waste of capital. The question remains, to what extent does raw talent compensate for managing a ticking time bomb? Statistical data suggests that if the focus is 100% on football, Snowden brings the reach that Dallas has been seeking to flank opposing offensive lines. He's not an elite pass rusher, but he's a functional player, capable of providing short coverage and playing key roles on special teams. Fans, rightly so, question the morality and viability of this. The manager, on the other hand, looks at the depth chart and sees a player who can be activated the moment injuries inevitably hit the main squad in October. We are therefore facing a calculated gamble where the suspension period is, in fact, a forced testing phase. Block 3. The impact on the locker room and the battle for job openings. The atmosphere at the Star is so intense, it's palpable. While news of the suspension echoed through the hallways, training camp didn't stop. The reality of the NFL is brutal. The league waits for no one, and the routine of a player like Charles Snowden is defined by each snap. For the veterans on defense, the news is just another reminder that reliability is as important as talent. The competition for edge rusher spots this year is one of the fiercest in recent times. We have young players wanting to prove their worth, and veterans trying to maintain their positions under the pressure of a coaching staff that demands excellence. Snowden's absence in the first 3 games creates a vacuum, and nature hates a vacuum. Players like James Houston and other names vying for the fringe of the roster now see a window of opportunity that has unexpectedly opened. The Snowden effect is real. He forced his competitors to raise their level, while simultaneously placing monumental pressure on himself to deliver results in the short time he has in the preseason. When he takes the field against the reserve teams in the August games, his every move will be analyzed under a microscope. If he's dominant, the fans will forgive him. If he's mediocre, the pressure for his release will be unbearable. The coaching staff, led by a group that prioritizes versatility, knows that Snowden has the physical profile that fits Christian Parker's system. But American football isn't just played with the body. It's a game of discipline, focus, and execution under extreme pressure. What will Snowden do with the repetitions he has left? That's the story the fans want to see. It's no longer just about pass rushing. It's about proving he deserves to wear the star on his helmet. If he fails to excel, the risk the team took in signing him will become a scar on the season. But if he uses this adversity as fuel for his preparation, we may be witnessing the birth of a player who in Week 4 will be the surprise factor no one saw coming. The silence before the snap in practice has never been so revealing, and every player on the field knows that Snowden's fate mirrors how the franchise treats its assets, with non-negotiable demands regardless of the past. The next chapter of this drama will be written in preseason games where there will be no room for error, only the relentless pursuit of a place in the defensive rotation.